Hello, dear colleagues. My name is Victoria Taranova. Let's check if you can see me and if you can hear me well. Okay, so people are joining us, people are coming. So I can see 43 participants already. That's great. I'm really happy. Well, okay, so if you can hear me, could you please write hello, type hello, and send it in the chat? Can you see the chat? Okay, so wonderful. I can see some people typing, not yet. Nope. So, oh no. Okay, I'm checking. Hello, once again. What about now? No video too? I can see myself. So let's check. No video. Oh, hello, Maria. Maria, can you see me? Hello, Ekaterina. Hello, everybody. So good. No video. Okay. Okay, so is it okay? So hi again. Does this okay mean that you can hear me and can see me or not yet? Oh, good. So, okay. So good, and you can hear me. Yeah, that's very good. I don't know what happened. It's okay now. Wonderful. Okay, thank you, Ekaterina. Thank you, Angelica. Good. So, oh, wonderful. I'm so happy that you can see me now. Thank you very much. So, good evening. Good evening. So, good. So, I'm now in Taganrog. This is a town in Rostov region. And where are you now? Can you type your locations? Where are you from or where are you now? Just some ideas. Okay, Margarita is having a problem. Margarita, what about the problems? What kind of problem? Sochi, Moscow. Good. Oh, Sochi. Is it warm here? What about Moscow? Is it fine? Krasnoyarsk. Maria, what's the weather like in Krasnoyarsk? St. Petersburg. Good. Kazakhstan. So that's wonderful. So there is just okay. So can you see the first slide of the presentation? So just with the Volgograd. Wonderful. Freezing cold. Oh, Maria. We're waiting for it. It's plus, yeah, so it's plus something at the moment. Moscow. Okay, very good. So let's check now presentation now. Just can you see the first slide with some information about me and the name? And okay, you can see the presentation. Wonderful. Okay, thank you very much. Very good. Then we can start. I guess, yeah? If you don't mind. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much. So today we will speak about eclecticism. Some ideas, some new ideas, modern ideas, and not only. And so first of all, we will try to understand what it is, eclecticism, eclectic teaching, and what you should do to teach effectively. So following this principle. First of all, I was thinking about those ideas we share with our CELTA participants, our CELTA trainees. You know that our center, Language Link, is one of the CELTA and Delta centers just in Russia. And we have been running CELTA courses for about 10 years. And just now you can see the slide with our website, celtadelta.ru, where you can find some ideas and information about our courses. For example, at the moment we are running CELT-P and CELT-S courses, and we are going to run CELTAs in Moscow, in Krasnodar, in Rostov, and in Sevastopol. Yeah, and you can see the link in our chat. Yeah, so for you to use it easily. I have analyzed all the ideas we believe in and we teach and preach and share with our participants, and I have understood, actually, I got the idea that they really work, they work really well with ideas about eclectic teaching. And today we will see what I mean. Okay, so first of all, look at this chart. You can see here some abbreviations. What do you think all these letters mean? Could you please type your ideas? What have I hidden in this table? Okay, I will give you the answer. Actually, here in this chart, you can see different approaches and methods which have existed and have been used for teaching. Yeah, Maria, great. Different teaching approaches and their elements, methods and approaches. Yeah, you are right. So we know that we can teach English in different ways, yeah, using different techniques, different ideas, yeah. But modern methodologists claim that all these methods and approaches are not effective enough if they are used just in isolation from each other. And the task of every teacher, have a look at this slide, the task of every teacher is to combine different elements from different, hello Victoria, yes, so the task of every teacher is to take different ideas and different approaches, from different approaches, combine them in their teaching, and then it means that we will teach effectively. And our teaching looks like this, yeah? So actually it looks like patchwork. Okay, no picture, no sound. Okay, good. Okay, you see just presentation. So those who can hear me too. Okay, no picture, no sound. Yes, I can hear. So I can try to check picture plus sound. Okay, so I can see that some of us have can see me. Some of you can see me and can hear me well, but some of you can't. So, so then this is not a global problem, I guess. Yeah. So I think just Okay, thank you, Margarita. Thank you, Ekaterina. Yeah, then I'm afraid that you have some local problems. Yeah, but just try to check Flash or something. Yeah, just use Chrome, maybe this. Yeah. So let's get back to our presentation. Thank you for some advice. Thank you very much. So so we can see that our teaching, can you imagine, looks like patchwork. So, and the idea is that we have to actually this is the basic idea of eclecticism. But the most difficult question, the most serious question is how to understand and which elements to choose, which ideas from different approaches should we take to be effective teachers. This is a big question. Yeah, what will work in our classroom? And I think that we have some answers. Yeah, so I think our teaching must be smart. So a kind of approach like smart eclecticism. Yeah, I understand you will say, oh, smart, poor backronym. Many people have already used it as a backronym. You are right. So I really just we will use this word smart as a backronym, and every letter means something. Let's see. So you remember that I tried to analyze our CELTA principles, CELTA Delta, CELT principles, and they really help to choose good elements for this eclectic teaching. So letter S stands for S, okay, for students. And think about your students, please. Are they the same or different? What do you think? And if they are different, what exactly are they different in? So can you write some ideas? How do your students differ from each other? Okay, can you continue? Active, passive, okay. Ages, characters, great. Interests, good ideas. Okay. Oh, wonderful, yes, background, motivation, types of learners, group, okay, yeah, you are right. So many ideas, actually. You have mentioned many, yeah, mental abilities, that's great. Different goals, okay, so I think I have, yeah, you're right, I have this, the next slide summarizes your ideas. Yeah, we can see that they are different in age, in gender, their level of English is different, background, interests, expectations, motivation, learning styles, just culture, aims, intelligence, just they are so different, yeah. And if some of these aspects are quite clear, like age, gender, some are not. For example, let's speak about multiple intelligences, yeah? So what do we mean when we speak about multiple intelligences? The idea was presented by Howard Gardner, and it claims that our thinking ability, yeah, so our intelligence is divided into some categories, yeah, and some of us have strong, for example, musical intelligence. We are good at music. We can create, reproduce, reflect. Some of us are intrapersonal, some of us have strong intrapersonal intelligence, and so on. So we understand that our abilities are different, and it means that we learn in different ways. It means that we use our abilities to understand, to learn new information, yeah, and to process this information. So this is very important because it influences our learning styles, how we learn. So we know, I think you have already seen this chart with with learner styles. And when we speak about English, when we speak about teaching English and English classroom, we usually think about visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners. And it is very important for us to understand what kind of learners our learners are. Because, for example, if I am a kinesthetic person, and if we have here my trainees, my CELTA trainees, they know, so this idea that I am kinesthetic, you know. And for me, it is really, really important to move when I try to remember things, when I try to learn things, yeah? When I try to memorize things, it is very important to move. I can just move around the room, or I can write something, but it is really important. If I just listen, I never remember anything. So when you choose methods and approaches from different, when you choose technique, when you choose elements from different approaches, it is really important to understand if they can be good for your type of learners or not. And here you can see a funny task, so sensory dictation. You can try it with your students. You can ask your students to divide a piece of paper into 3 columns. Just I hear it, I see it, and I feel it, maybe smell or touch. You dictate different words. Words, you can see, are chosen in such a way that all of them can be imagined, yeah, in different ways. Just some people, for example, a baby, some people will immediately get the babies like crying. Some people will imagine a picture of a nice baby, and some people will remember the smell of a baby, yeah? And you dictate these words, and you ask your students to write them, to use their first emotion, first association, and write these words in one of the columns. Then you will see that all your students will have different number of items in different columns. And it will somehow justify our idea, that prove our idea, that some of our students who have more words in the first column are auditory students, some of them are visuals, and some of them are kinesthetic. And you will understand that for your lessons, you always, for example, need a kind of visual support if you have a lot of visuals in your group. Or if you work with little kids, like young learners, most of them are kinesthetic, and just you should think about it when you choose ideas from different approaches. When you choose activities, you must think about it, how this activity will help them to learn things in their way. Okay, so motivation, also interesting, yeah? All of us know that motivation can be extrinsic and intrinsic. Usually extrinsically motivated people have some goal. They want to get better job, they want to get better salary, they have to pass an exam, and that's why they learn English. But some of our students really like English, really like maybe you, they like the group, they like the school, and they enjoy the process. And you can use both types of motivation to involve and engage your students. And when you choose different elements and different activities, think, will it be interesting for my students? For example, when I was a student, a university student, I was afraid. I was afraid of first lessons with new teachers. What to say, yeah? So, and then when I visited a seminar, so the Ken Wilson's seminar, I got this wonderful, so I learned how this task can be pleasant and interesting. For example, look at this t-shirt. You know, I really like t-shirts, but this t-shirt is a special one because I have designed it myself. And I put on this t-shirt 3 facts about me. Can you please write any ideas? What do you think these facts mean? For example, 1999. Any ideas? What happened here in 1999? I think this about university it's clear, but you can guess 1999 and 10. Okay. I will wait for ideas. And then I will check your participation if you can hear me and see me. Good. No answers? Is the picture just slow? Okay. 10, about me. Okay, so these are true facts about me. Okay, graduation, good idea. Finished school, yes, Jana is right. In 1999, I finished school and I had my first lesson. You are also right, yes. Good. Okay, I've been teaching. I found out that I've been teaching for 20 years because my first student was my schoolmate, and I helped her to get prepared for the university exams because I had already entered the university by that time, and I was sharing my experience, so I consider her to be my first student. So 10, I have 10 certificates. I have 10 Cambridge certificates like TKT, CELTA, and so on. Okay, so you can start with this task with your students and show them this wonderful t-shirt. They guess, yeah, my daughter is 11. Thank you, Nelly. So you show them your facts, and then you ask them to draw a t-shirt and to put some facts on it about them, and they exchange their t-shirts and they try to guess facts about each other. I have tried this activity with kids, with young learners, with teenagers, with adults, and they really love it. And the idea is they somehow introduce themselves, they speak about themselves, but it is not frightening. They are not afraid of this. And so actually they the activity works well. Let's continue. Yeah, so let's proceed to letter M in our SMART acronym. M stands for management, classroom management. And I guess classroom management is something we sometimes have to think about. When I speak about classroom management, I mean all these ideas: TTT, cooperation, feedback, energy balance, timing, pace of the lesson, learner autonomy, interaction patterns, you mean instructions you give, and mixed ability, yeah, dealing with mixed ability, okay? Which of these ideas do you find the most challenging for us, for teachers? Can you please type your ideas? Okay, mixed ability and energy balance. Okay, yeah, so I agree with you. Mixed ability, exactly. We will speak about it, yeah. Yeah, in the interaction patterns. Okay, thank you for your answers. Thank you very much. Yeah, you're right. Mixed ability is really difficult. Let's have a look at some of these ideas. First of all, TTT and STT. Yeah, we will start with this, and then we will proceed and we will deal with mixed ability too. So we remember that classroom is our lessons actually are for our students to speak. Yeah, they are supposed to speak more, and the balance must be like this: 30% of the the lesson time is for us, actually this time is for us, and 70% should be devoted to our students, should be given to our students to speak. So when we choose different activities, we should think how these activities can provide our students with speaking time, how make them speak, how involve and engage them. And your instructions is something that sometimes, like, it is something that eats the time. If your instructions are really long and you explain what to do just not very clearly, then students don't understand and you have to repeat. So it takes time. Think about your instructions. They must follow the simple KISS principle. And KISS principle means keep instructions short and simple. So make sure that you can easily explain what the what to do, yeah, in order not to waste time. And speaking about interaction patterns, we also should remember that we can organize our students in different patterns. They can work individually, they can work in pairs, in small groups, in large groups, and as a whole class. This is very important because interaction, first of all, when they work in pairs, they have more speaking time and you can observe them. All of them are speaking, not one is speaking and the whole class is listening, yeah? Also, it provides you with a kind of variety, and when they work in pairs, in groups, you change their places, they don't get bored, they change partners, and so they can interact with more people in the classroom. Also, what is important about classroom management is giving feedback. Sometimes we think that feedback is only just something like checking the answers, or maybe saying if and maybe speaking about their marks. But actually feedback can be different. And first of all, our feedback can be positive and negative. Yeah, so we can say that they were so good, that the lesson was so good, that they behaved well, and that you are so happy. Yeah, why not? So feedback can be immediate and delayed. For example, when you check the answers, and you want to correct your student during the controlled practice, yes, so you should correct immediately. But when they are speaking and they're discussing something, it's better not to stop them, but to somehow write down their mistakes and then analyze them on the whiteboard after the activity finishes. Feedback can be verbal or non-verbal. You can give feedback on behavior, yeah. You can give feedback on accuracy and their ideas. You can correct the mistakes and you can say how interesting, about their ideas, that they invented interesting things and you liked it. Feedback can be oral and written. You can write, for example, when you check their written works, you can write some words, some maybe you can highlight some strength, and you can highlight something to work on. Also, self-check is fine when you need to maybe for variety, okay, again. So self-check is really good, and for this you can give them the keys, for example, or the checklist. Even writing is something that can be checked by a student if they have a properly designed checklist. Also, using a checklist, you can provide them with the opportunity to check each other's works, and it's also really good and beneficial for the students. For example, just one idea, let's imagine that you are doing a grammar task. Yes, so the task is to finish the sentences, and then you have to check it. What can we do? Sometimes we ask just one by one. But what happens when we ask our teachers one by one? Usually, our students one by one. Usually they count, my number is 3, I will be ready with number 3, and I'm not going to listen to number 1, 4, and 5. Yeah, but you can have a ball. You can use a ball. Just throw a ball to one of the students and say, okay, choose any number you wish and read your sentence. Then the student gives this ball, passes this ball to other students in the group, and they choose the structure they would like to announce, and they give their answers. This is interesting, fun, and actually you don't nominate, they nominate themselves, which is also great, and it also just is beneficial for their autonomy and participation. Good. Energy balance. Some of you mentioned energy balance as a problem, yeah? And you know, you are right. Especially when we speak about young learners, but it is also true about teenagers and adults. The idea is, what it means, energy balance. You should remember that you should combine different tasks in terms of students, like in terms of energizing students. For example, let's imagine that they jump, they play, they move, in one activity, but then think what kind of task can you give your students to let them, to make them sit and think and concentrate. And if you interchange somehow this activity, like stirring activity when they jump and move, and settling activity when they concentrate and do something, it would be really great, because you will maintain the energy balance, and it will help you to keep your students involved, to keep your students interested. Because just imagine if you bring a lot of like reading and writing tasks, for example, read and write, settling, so they can get bored. Yeah, so and when children get bored, they start doing what? They start misbehaving. Yeah, so when adults or teenagers get bored, they start checking their mobile phones. Yeah, okay. When young learners for example, the young learners and all the tasks and activities are really energetic, they get over energized, and so they again start misbehaving. So this balance helps you maintain discipline, first of all, control discipline. Mixed ability. Okay, so yeah, I can see all of us are a bit concerned. Yes, so we are this is something that really challenging for us, for teachers, like mixed ability. Why do we have to deal with this mixed ability? Because just look at this slide. Our students are so different. In one group we have sometimes a bit different age, a bit different gender, different types of learners. Yes, so and their level can be a bit different. Even if we have the pre-intermediate or intermediate group, still we have some weaker and stronger students, slower and slower. Okay, so just wrong slide him in this. Yeah, I'm just speaking about students, that they are so different. And now the mixed ability again. Yes, first of all, what kind of challenges we are. Let's speak about what kind of challenges we are facing. First of all, being teachers, we are supposed to we are supposed to provide our students with effective learning. We have to teach in such a way that our students really learn something. Yeah, and it is what I mean. For example, you try to choose tasks and activities appropriate for lower students. Yeah, for weaker students. What happens? Your strongest students get demotivated. They are not interested because they are not challenged. If you decide to choose activities for stronger students, then it is really, really difficult for your weakest students to somehow keep up with the pace, with the difficulty, and they also get demotivated. Yeah. So materials, we are supposed to choose materials, to adapt materials, to design materials, maybe. Yeah. Participation, this is a big problem. We all know that our shy students don't participate as actively as our stronger students. Yeah. So it can influence the pace of the lesson. So level of difficulty is something to be always like controlled, yeah, and also discipline. If our stronger students are just are not involved, are not interested, they start misbehaving, and vice versa. So what can we do? We have two magic words, two magic ideas for dealing with stronger and weaker students. The first idea is differentiation, and the second idea is extension. What it means? So differentiation, just have a look at this slide about listening. Yes, so let's imagine that we have to teach a listening lesson. Yeah, all of us remember that we should provide some support for our weaker students, so-called scaffolding. So we pre-teach vocabulary, we use visual prompts, we brainstorm ideas, we try to predict something. We, after the task, we ask them to discuss their answers in pairs, we do all these things. But we can also use differentiated tasks, differentiated by instruction. So, look, task A, choices, is a bit easier because the task is listen and choose. And task B is a bit more complicated because the task is listen and write. Listen and write is always more difficult than just listen and choose because they have nothing to choose from, they have no visual support. Yeah, you are supposed to design maybe materials, but sometimes these tasks are really easy to design, so they're easy to design. And what we also use, I have two papers, so just red papers and green papers, and they say, okay, my dear students, I have two tasks for you. One is easier, one is more difficult. It's up to you to decide what you want to do. And you know, sometimes weaker students decide to try. Sometimes they understand, no, I don't want, I know that this is difficult, I will better do green. So it works. We have tried, and so just this idea works. Also, speaking about extension, when you give instructions, you can say, let's imagine, have a look at this slide, please. A grammar exercise, a long grammar exercise. But you can say, please write at least 5 sentences, do at least 5 sentences. Or you can even just hide sentences 6, 7, and 8, just fold in the paper. And you say, okay, the task is sentences from 1 to 5. When you see that some of your students are ready, your fast finishers, you say, unfold your paper and continue working. So in this case, you don't have to design anything else. You don't have to think about some extra activities just to keep them engaged and involved. You just have this extension. This is easier, and all your students are involved and are just have something to do. Good, let's continue with letter A, and I have it for assortment, and actually I mean variety by this idea. And speaking about variety, we have already understood that we have different, we should set activities, we should think about task setup and use different interaction patterns to provide, so to thinking about variety in this sphere. Our feedback can be also different. We remember about energy balance, and we provide them with a variety of storers and settlers. We remember about and we have 3 more things: skills, systems, and assessment. Let's have a look what I mean here. When we teach English, we're supposed to develop 4 skills. receptive skills like reading and listening, and productive skills like speaking and writing. And it is really important because I know that sometimes some teachers think that, oh, writing is boring. Why should I spend my lesson why should I waste time for writing? Just they can write at home. Or reading is boring, they can read at home. But it's not, because we are supposed to teach them how to write and to teach them how to read and develop these 4 skills. And so here you can see, I think you understand what I mean. We can see Cambridge English qualifications. And why I have this slide here, I'm going to explain. At Language Link, every group is getting prepared for a particular Cambridge test. It means that every group, the students of every group, by the end of the year, will be able to take an exam according to their level. It's not a must, it's not necessary, it's not obligatory to take these exams. Those who want, they do it. Those who don't want, so they can do it next year maybe, or one day they will need it. Why? I will explain. So look at this Cambridge Assessment English motto. We help people learn English and prove their skills to the world. What I really like is their logo, new logo. All these symbols have special meaning. What do you think they mean? Just again, 1 minute for you to think and write your ideas. What do all these lines and colors mean? What do you think? Okay. Skills. Maria. Okay. Good. Yeah, Maria is right. So let's continue. Yes, Maria is right. So these lines mean skills: reading, writing, speaking, and listening. It means that Cambridge exams are based on skills. Good. So look, if we check, for example, pre-A1 starters. Look, you can have so if we think about the parts of the exam: listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And if we compare it with B2 first, FC, yeah, again, reading, writing, listening, speaking. The idea is when a teacher understands and actually realizes that at the end of the year, their students will be checked by Cambridge and all 4 skills will be tested. So every teacher will understand that that they must do something to develop all 4 skills. And that's why some pages from the books, for example, devoted to writing or reading, will be not neglected and just skipped. And teachers they really try and do their best to develop all 4 skills. That's why I really like Cambridge exams, and I really believe that they help us remember about all skills to be developed. When we speak about systems, we also should remember that we have grammar, lexis, functions, and pronunciation as something 4 important things to focus on. Usually we do a lot of grammar, we teach a lot of grammar, we teach a lot of lexis, yeah, so just a lot of verbs. But what about functions? Do you ever deal with ready-made phrases, ready-made chunks for special situations, for certain situations? Some ready-made language, for example, functions like apologizing, yeah, just sometimes our students don't know how to apologize. Sometimes they don't know how to suggest something, yeah? And actually we have to deal with functions too. And speaking about pronunciation, I know for sure that pronunciation is not, is sometimes like, isn't addressed regularly. And the problem with an accent that our students can have is not the biggest, just the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that when we listen, so when our students listen, they don't understand what they hear, because if we don't teach pronunciation, if we don't raise our students' awareness of connected speech, of features of connected speech, of all those phenomena and features and about everything what happens in connected speech, with sounds, with words, with so just with all these elements, so we try to put together when we speak, so they will never understand that what they hear. A simple practice, for example, I told my students, sorry, can't talk masran. Sorry, can't talk masran. They didn't understand what I mean, like masran, because they expected from me, I must run, okay? And that's why, so we must think about it. Okay, so speaking about assessment, just briefly, what can I say about assessment? Assessment is not only tests. You just regularly, maybe like progress tests and unit tests, for example, and we use results of this formative assessment for to think what to teach, what to revise, and summative as you give the final result. Assessment can be formal and informal, like formal like tests, and informal when you just observe your students. It can be continuous. For example, you observe your students and you just notice something and you collect some words. It can be self-assessment, peer assessment, portfolio assessment. Yes, some teachers really like collecting different works of their students, like assignments maybe, and then they use it, so for assessment. Okay, and you can see here that you can use different types of assessment. And actually, if I ask you how often do you assess your students, the answer will be often. Not often, but always. We always assess our students. We always observe them, and we always then process the information that we get from observation. And so just when we speak about all these things like skills, systems, and assessment, we should remember that our teaching should be balanced. And what I believe in, that that Cambridge exams help us to balance this teaching, at least in terms of addressing skills and systems. Okay, so the fourth reason, let's quickly speak about this. The fourth letter is letter R, and here I speak about reasons. If we ask why we do things, or why we do this or that in the classroom, actually we will get all aims of our lessons. If we think, why do I want to take this material? Because I want to improve their knowledge of present perfect, for example, and you get your main aim. So if you ask yourself, why, what's the reason, why do I want to use this text? So because they will notice present perfect in this text. So okay, this will be your subsidiary aim. Why do I want them to work in pairs? Because my TTT is high, and if they work in pairs, they will speak more, I will speak less. Why do I, so just you always ask yourself why. And so two more ideas, really interesting. When you choose different ideas and elements from different approaches and methods, it's very good to think about communicative focus and authenticity of our tasks. Communicative focus is something that what's the reason to do the task? Why should I do the task? Why should I speak? This is especially true, just especially important for teenagers and young learners. If they don't see the reason, if they don't see the need, they don't want to do tasks. And authenticity. Think, if the situation real, like, can they use this language? Can this situation happen in reality? So, and if they, if answers, if you think about it and you choose interesting activities, so your students will be engaged and involved. I will share you one idea. I have stolen from the seminar of our director Yuliana Chernikova, a wonderful activity. I have tried it with different levels and ages. You imagine that you swap lives with you ask your students to imagine that they swap lives with their partners for 1 week. And they have to instruct their partners what they should do, shouldn't do, mustn't do, don't have to do. So, and students. So this is the first role of a student B or a student A. Sorry, and students B should ask questions. They want to live this week perfectly. They don't want to spoil anything, and they want to ask some more questions. Can I do this? Do I have to do this? And then they change roles. This activity is fun because after this activity they find out that they don't want to swap lives, they don't want to live anybody else's life, and so they exchange a lot of personal facts, and what is interesting, they speak a lot, and the activities have clear communicative focus. They give instructions. Instructions are really realistic and just real life and authentic. And one more, okay, so actually we are finishing, and now we are going to speak about the final letter T, and it is for thinking skills. I really believe that we teachers have to develop critical thinking skills and creative thinking skills of our students, because what I have noticed, I have 2 daughters, and my elder daughter is 11, and sometimes she asks me, can you help me with something? And I say, so I don't remember, why don't you Google? She said, I have already done that. And I ask, so what's the answer? I don't know, there is no answer. How is it possible that there is no answer just on the internet? I check myself, and what I see, they get a lot of hits, a lot of results like links, yes. So the idea is that they don't get the ready-made answer. They have to read something. They have to process information, they have to understand it, they have to analyze this, evaluate, and create the answer. This is something they can't do. I'm speaking about children. And our children have to process a lot of information every day. That's why I think we really should help them. And different creative tasks can help. For example, I will share this interesting task by Jill Hartfield. When you imagine that you describe your day from the point of view of an object somewhere. For example, I read them, not saying what I am. I lay on the desk, wrote a love letter, drew a picture, scribbled on the wall, ran out of ink, ended up in the waste paper basket. And they try to guess what object I am, yeah? Then it's the task for them. They try to imagine what they are, describe their day, and then read it, and they guess what object they are presenting. So, also, if we speak about some negotiating skills, yeah, ranking, all this analysis, like when we speak about like higher order skills, yeah, we can use different negotiation tasks. For example, lost in the woods. Actually, you can find a lot of ideas online. Sometimes people are in the boat, sometimes on an island, sometimes, so they try to negotiate what is for example, object they need to survive, yeah. First they think they work individually, and they rank these objects according to their vision, yeah. Then they try to negotiate the list in pairs, then in groups of 4, then in bigger groups, and so you use this pyramid discussion to negotiate, to prove their ideas, to support, to somehow provide some argumentation. It really helps develop thinking skills. And students really like the NASA task. If you Google, you can find the NASA task on the moon when they try to rank the object they have which can help them survive on the moon. And why this task is interesting, because it has correct answers. Yeah. So, and the task Lost in the Woods, you can also find online, and it also has correct answers. And they can see if their choice is correct, and they will really survive. Well, so just what can I say, just to sum up, that eclecticism is wonderful because it gives us a great opportunity to choose and to combine different elements from different approaches and methods. But we must remember that all our choices must be smart, must be supported by some reasons. Yeah, must be, sometimes some authors also call it principled approach, yeah, so principled eclecticism. Once again, I would like to repeat that different authors have different ideas for the principles, yes, so which should be used. I have analyzed everything we believe in at Language Link, everything we share with our trainees, our CELTA trainees, CELT-P, CELT-S trainees, and so somehow it's it was organized in this presentation. I hope that this presentation and our talk was interesting for you, and just once again I would like to remind that we are running CELTA courses and CELT-P and CELT-S courses. So these CELT-P, CELT-S are for those who, oh, thank you, Gula. Okay, these courses are for those who work with young learners, and these are online courses. Now we are running 2 of them, yes, CELT-P and CELT-S, and everything is online. We use, oh, thank you, Maria. We use a wonderful platform for this, and there is a lot of material, and there is, and also we organize webinars to meet somehow with our participants. So we have just, thank you, okay, thank you, Evgenia. Yeah, if you want to get more information, again, you can go and consult CELTA and CELTAdelta.ru, and just you can see the word bonus on my slide. Those who want to take part, who want to take a course, and if you register in a week after this webinar, you will get a bonus. You will get the recording of 2 seminars, of Penny Earth seminar and Ches Pugliese seminar. So if you are interested, just contact our staff and they will answer all your questions. They will give you all the information about prices, about deadlines and dates, about everything. So I'm really grateful that you were with me and that we were together this evening. Thank you very, very much for your time. Thank you very much. I hope to see you again. So it was a pleasure to work with you. Thank you very much and see you soon. Okay, so here you can see some contacts. Yeah, if you want if you want to ask me any questions, just feel free to write to me, feel free to contact me by Skype. And here you can see our 2 websites, CELTA Delta for those who want to take a Cambridge course, and Language Link UG, just with a lot of information about our school. Okay. So thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Have a nice weekend. It's Thursday, yeah, but still. So Friday is, I hope Friday is a kind of weekend already. What do we have to say to gain that bonus? Okay, you have to say the promo code, like Вебинар 24 ноября. So yes, just when you want to get the bonus, just say Вебинар 24 ноября and register for the course. So managers will inform you. Yeah, so we'll give you we'll help you. Okay. Good. Just maybe password. Yeah, some kind of password. Good. So, thank you, dear participants. Okay, thank you again. I hope this is the last slide in my presentation. Yeah. So, have a nice evening. Bye-bye.